Hi, my name's Pete Brown. I'm a beer writer. Now, some years ago, I interviewed Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden about the launch of Trooper, a beer that he'd brewed with Robinson's Brewery in Stockport, at a time when a lot of different bands were brewing beers with breweries. Things kind of went differently for Trooper than they did for a lot of those band beers. And now I'm back with Bruce to talk to him about what's turned into a whole range of different beers.
Pete Brown,
Yes.
welcome to my temporary gaff.
It's nice to see you again. You've got up in the world since I last saw you.
I know, yeah, just rented it for the day, unfortunately, you know. But we've got these boxed sets of Trooper to have a go at, and it's a little collection, and they're all in chronological order. So we start off with there's a pair of each. There's a pair of triple sixes.
Excellent.
Basically, this is Trooper, regular Trooper, with 6.6% alcohol.
Excellent.
We just left it for a bit longer. It was a surprising hit. It was a surprising hit. It's got a little bit of special brew about it.
In a good way.
Yeah, yeah. In just with the alcohol content being much more than you'd normally have in just a sort of a nice, well balanced beer.
We're now, nearly 8 years since Trooper originally launched.
Yeah.
Seems like 5 minutes. And then the original thing here was that Maiden fans liked the beer and said, have you got anything stronger?
Yeah, there were things like, oh, it's 4.7%. That's not a beer. You can't have a beer that's 4.7. That's not beer. That's this. And it's just like, what kind of knucklehead are you? It's nothing really to do with the alcohol. It's to do with the overall ambience, the taste, everything. It goes down well, it does the trick, and it's very, very pleasant.
You can taste the body, it takes a bit of the alcohol heat in there.
Yeah.
But the difference between this and a beer like that is that the rest of the ingredients that give you the flavour are
No.
amped up in this, so it's still
No,
balanced.
I'm still getting the taste of the beer.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
after a
It's got
few
really
mouthfuls.
big sort of malty character, so it's the alcohol's not just kind of stomping over everything.
This one, it's kind of obscured by the alcohol, so the malt bit comes through stronger. So you get the malty thing,
Definitely.
you know, much more in this because of the increased alcohol, which is interesting. I don't know why. There you go. But we've done that. Shall we? I'll tell you what. While this has been in the box, has been in the fridge, so I'm hoping this is still going to be cold enough, even though it's not in chronological order, Sun and Steel, because this is next to Trooper. This is my favourite beer so far
I loved reading the story about this.
they've created. Yeah,
So you've got a friend who's a...
a sake brewer, and we've been thinking about doing a lager. Big problem with doing a lager. You're up against all the big boys because lager sales are huge, and so how do we, with our little brewery at Robinson's and us, how do we even try to make a dent in that market? And I said, well, we've got to do something different. Now, as it happened, I was eating a lot of sushi at the time, and you know, add a little bit of cold sake with it, and of course I went, hang on a minute, this is a lovely, fragrant, floral finish. I wonder how that would work if it was in a beer. How would we do it? So we spoke, you know, with Martin at the brewery, and he said, well, maybe we could do a secondary fermentation. Big Iron Maiden fan, guy called George User, owns a sake brewery.
Brilliant.
So I phoned up George. I said, George, is there any chance, you know, your super secret yeast? So it came to my front door through my letterbox. This package, like biohazard, you know what I mean? And I went, that's it. So I think we had to get permission from the Japanese government to use the yeast. It took 2 years to develop the beer.
Yeah. Because yeast is a funny thing. Like, I mean, brewers still don't understand everything there is to know about yeast, and all you've got to do is create the right conditions for it. See if it likes it or not, and it'll either perform or not on the day.
So this is not quite as cold as I would probably like it.
But it means we get more of those aromas out.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big thing here because it's not gimmicky. Someone could attack the idea of a beer like this and say, "Well, that just sounds a bit like a gimmick," and it's not. It doesn't. It's not like It's not like a beer that's had a sake poured into it. It's the sake,
absolutely
the
not.
characteristics blend with the beer characteristics and create something different. But you've got something nice, very delicately fruity on the nose.
Exactly. And when it's on draft and chilled, probably a couple of 2 or 3 degrees more than that, it's just sublime. We're talking about yeast. Big Belgian beer.
Oh, we're going Belgian, yes.
Right, so hang on. Here we go. Hallowed. So, Hallowed was, after we'd done a couple of other beers, I thought, why can't we do a Belgian beer? But with a twist. Why don't we do a Belgian beer based on an English ale base? So use a Belgian yeast.
But what I love is how the Trooper range now is pushing Robinsons out into new areas and giving them a chance to do beers that they probably might not feel confident doing under the Robinsons name, but experimenting with them and doing them under the Trooper collection.
It's a lovely colour.
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got that sort of like chewy sweetness.
What I like about it is that the Belgian yeasty bit of it is not full on.
I think this is my favourite so far because you get so few beers like this coming out of British breweries. I love Belgian beers as well.
Yeah.
And there has been, historically, there's been a lot of back and forth between the two, but not so much these days.
But again, I forget what the ABV of this is. It's not kind of, if you pardon the pun, headbanging. Martin and I would always have this discussion about the ABV of things, which brings me to the red and black. So, the Imperial Stout, which we talked about before. So we sat down and we said, right, Imperial Stout. So we had a whole range of Imperial Stouts, ranging different bottle XYZ, and we just tasted them and decided what we did and didn't like about them before we started mixing them up. And we were both in agreement. We said, hey, let's just go with flavour and let's just see where the alcohol profile ends up. So we did that, and we were sitting there, and he, Ryan over there captured it on camera. I went, a couple of beers. Oh, I've tasted that. And Martin went, oh, that's cracking. What's that? I said, well, that's half of that and half of that. I said, we tweak it together a little bit, and I said, no, it's a lovely colour. Ooh, it's sort of red and black. Nice and clear.
Yeah, it's more the red and the brown again.
Yeah. Red and the black. It's a good name for beer. Actually, it is a good name for beer. There you go. So, I mean, I said that not even connecting, probably subconsciously connecting, that we had a track called The Red and the Black. But I went, it's red and black. There you go. Bing, black and tan, whatever, So,
there's a long and noble history of that kind of mixing in these type of beers.
Yeah.
People kind of taking a bottle of this and half a pint of that.
Well, I can remember, mild and bitter. Where the hell would you find a pint of mild? Well, I tell you what, that's another. I'm gonna.
Yeah, the colour's remarkable. It's there's that lovely thing where you get the red when you hold it up to the light.
Yeah.
That's really close to what I think classical porter used to taste like back in the day.
Yeah. Talking about mild and bitter, Fear of the Dark. I'd forgotten about this one. Not super strong, 4.9%, but it's that lovely, not charcoal exactly, but lovely sort of like end of the barrel sort of taste.
I know what you mean. It's kind of like an ashiness, but in a good way.
Yeah.
And like a coffee grounds thing.
That's it. And the flavour of it, the flavour profile of it, obscures the extra alcohol in it. You don't realise that it's it's a 4.9. I think this one is. 4.9. Yeah, 4.9. Doesn't taste like 4.9.
No, it doesn't.
That brings me to this one, which is the last one of our box. Obviously, there's quite a few beers left in the box, but this is the last one. And actually, what you just said, as if by magic, the shopkeeper appeared. So this is an IPA, a straightforward, lovely, drinkable, quaffable IPA. And Martin came up with it and said, look, do you mind if I make a contribution to the range? And I went, no, mate, go, you know, go on then. I love it. I was knocked out.
So he's met the standards that you set for the range.
Oh,
the head brewer.
Oh yeah. No, well, of course, because I mean, he's you know, he's the man. But honestly, there's a fresh glass there for you.
Oh,
perfect. Yeah. Hang on.
Do you want a branded one?
Yeah, go on, I will, because. So this is just lovely. Not you know, not head banging. Was it 4%? 4.3%. There you go. So just nice, drinkable.
We've got the hops in there.
Mm.
A lot of these beers have been malt forward so far, and this one's jumping to be about the hops.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've missed the taste of beers like this actually. This has gone back to the classic sort of English style IPA.
Exactly.
So we first talked about beer when you just launched Trooper.
Yeah.
And at that stage, it felt like bands doing beers with 10 a penny, and a lot of them were, you know, the band turns up and they get a photo tipping the hops in, and a photo digging the grist out, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure some people felt that you were going to do the same, and here we are a few years later, and you've got an entire range of beers.
Yeah.
Each one with its own place and its own story.
Yeah. I mean, no, I'm really proud of what we've achieved. I say we, you know, because it is, we've got a whole team behind it. You can't do stuff like this. I mean, I can't do stuff like this on my own, no way.
We were just chatting before I sat down, and you're just about to pass 30 million pints of Trooper beer.
Cow, that's amazing. 30 million. And we were in the middle of a, you know, not even any pubs are open, you know. So,
no, I love them all. But with a range like this, it's unlikely that everyone's going to love all of them, but you've probably got something in there for anybody.
Yeah.
There's at least one that someone's going to like.
Yeah.
So you've got this.
Yeah.
Thank you for my first drink in a bar for many, many months.
Oh yeah, that's very good, very good. Yeah, well, you know, well, I have to say that as soon as we leave, the bar's shut.
Yes. Well, it was nice. It was nice to kind of get a sneak preview of what's to come in the summer. I'm going to have a bottle of Hallowed to celebrate.
I think that's a cracking idea. Yeah, absolutely.